News, Joy FM, and Love FM. We also have on the phone Kenneth Ashigbe, and you know Ken Ashigbe. He's the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. Gentlemen, good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
Erastus, I guess we could...
Before we start with Erastus, we have the report from Subri, where 10,000 people were found in an area engaged in illegal mining. Let's just listen to it, and then we'll get to Erastus and Ken.
Deep in the Subri River Forest Reserve in Ghana's western region lies a hidden community, a sprawling illegal mining settlement known as Abrewa Nkran. Home to more than 10,000 people, it has grown far beyond a makeshift village. This is no ordinary encampment. It's a full-blown enclave with its own shadow economy, one sustained by child prostitution, drug abuse, counterfeit operations, and suspected human trafficking. In a dawn raid, a joint task force made up of military personnel and the Forestry Commission stormed the enclave. What they expected to be a hideout for about 2,000 illegal miners turned out to be a bustling community with over 10,000 inhabitants, many of them foreign nationals from Nigeria, Guinea, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali.
This place, it's an eyesore. The place is full of illegal miners with all manner of activities within this community. We've seen incidents of child trafficking, child prostitution, drug abuse, money laundering, counterfeit, you name them. And we are getting nationals from all over the sub-region. It appears this community is a representation of ECOWAS. You can tell that there is no place within the community that they are mining. They are mining in the Subri Forest Reserve. And the effect on the impact of the illegal mining on the forest is very devastating.
Among those found were trafficked girls from Nigeria, lured with false promises and forced into the sex trade. Young boys were also discovered, many addicted to substances like tramadol. The team says this is just the beginning. The operation will continue for the next 2 weeks as authorities vow to dismantle the entire settlement and reclaim the forest reserve.
It's not going to be a 9-day one, as I said. We are going to be here for nearly 2 weeks and make sure the last illegal miner is ready from this community.
As Ghana's forests come under increasing threat from illegal mining, Abrewa Nkran stands as a stark reminder of how deep-rooted and dangerous the crisis has become.
Erastus, this settlement of 10,000 people is described as hidden. But surely we've known about it, haven't we?
It's not hidden at all. Or even if it's hidden in plain sight, known to many of the security agencies. This one did not start this year or under this administration. It started way back early 2024. If you remember, the Forestry Commission sent men in there. There were people who were armed. They could not overtake them, and so they came back. We kept hammering on this from last year and asking government to act. They did not act. They left them to operate. And one by one, you see, within the Galamsey field, the moment you breed impunity, you send a signal that government is not ready to act. More people joined the enclave. And so it kept building and building and building and built to this level. We knew about it. We talked about it. Nothing was done. Now this year, we have even prompted authorities on this one, the Subri River Forest Reserve. It's part of the forest I have named consistently that it has been besieged by armed gangs. And so, Kodo, I'm not surprised at all. It has never been hidden. It's been in plain sight. But I must congratulate the Ghana Armed Forces. I must commend Dr. Mane Boama and his deputy. We told them and they acted upon it. And it's a strong signal out there. We are happy about it. We want more.
Ken, everybody is scratching their heads around. I don't think there is a community in this country that politicians haven't been able to access in order to campaign for votes. So during the election, they will deploy police officers to man the ballot boxes in these communities. How is it that this can be going on under our very noses And the political leaders who insist that they want to end Galamsey have not been able to do anything about it till now.
So again, as Erastus said, it is basically the will of leadership to decide that we want to do with it. I don't believe that there is any portion of this land that there is any force that is mightier than the state. The challenge has been the fact that in the past you get the forestry commission team wanting to go there, and they cannot match the firepower of those people. They call them committees. There's a team of well-built, well-armed people. They're called committees who are superintending over the illegality happening, who are the ones collecting money from people. But you can believe that behind all of these people will be some politically exposed people. There will be people who President John Mahama called on the 14th of July last year as kingpin. Who would be behind this? Who would be politically exposed? So once the leadership has the will, this has been done. And so, there is also the Jerusalem community as well, a similar community like this. And you look at the cocktail of the challenges that are there. Majority of these people, the committee people, are foreigners. They are combatants, they are mercenaries from various communities that have come into our country and who are doing all of this. And so it is important for the leadership of this country, and I completely agree with you. And, as my Minister for Communications said, if there is the will to deal with it, as we have dealt with this particular one, we will be able to do it. So what we are inviting is that particular will. And it's the reason why, for me, I don't know why His Excellency the President is still not ready to, get the state of emergency happening in communities like this, in forest reserves like this, on water bodies that are, being inundated by these criminals, and so that we match these people, with more superior power. We make sure that there are a lot more people who are involved in dealing with the situation that we find confronting us. So, Kojo, you talk about the fact that 3,000 hectares of land has been destroyed. Let me bust your bubble. For every hectare, averagely, you will spend $40,000 to be able to reclaim that. So when the government says they want to reclaim, you would need a minimum of $120 million in today's Ghana, which is in IMF. In today's Ghana, where the government have gone to sweep out all the monies in the various state-owned entities and all of that, where are we going to get $120 million to just do, restoration of forests? Not to talk about the other challenges that you have to, the cocktail of other challenges that we have to deal with. So, I agree with Erastus that we need to commend the military and then the forest guards for going into this. But we need to ensure that there's sustainability. We need to ensure, because the interesting thing, that the manager mentioned to us that when they went back the next morning, there were people who were beginning to, dig foundations and wanting to build again. So you need to make sure that these forces, there's close proximity to these areas where these things are happening, so that they will be agile, they will be nimble, they will be able to move into those places quickly, and if the issues are happening, deal with them. But critically is the fact that we've gotten to a point where we need to militarize our forest guards. We need to treat them like the way we treat the Rangers of the USA, where they are armed with superior weaponry than these armed mercenaries, where they are trained and given the right training to ensure that we are able to deal with the scourge that is currently confronting us. So the question you would want to ask the Minister for Interior is he going to tell us that all these foreigners who are in here again, who are coming and doing all of this thing, where we've been told that even, they are coming from the ECOWAS region, are they also just going to be deported and they will then come back again to be able to come and perpetuate this? I am hoping that the Minister for Interior, based on all of these things that is happening, is beginning to change his record and ensuring that, this thing about not applying the Act 995 would be changed.
Now, let me stay with you for a moment, Ken. I mean, the military has, come upon this place, and we seem to be discussing it like it's been resolved. 10,000 people have not been arrested. We don't have anywhere to keep 10,000, people if we were to arrest them. So, has the problem been solved?
So again, I think it's also to put in perspective that one, these people are they are around the forest reserve, and it took about 2 hours for the troops to get there. By the time they got the information, some of them had dashed into the forest and all of that. But again, there were people there who were not, they were not directly involved in the illegal mining. They were, part of the economy that had been created by that. And so some of those people were asked to leave the spaces. I'm sure, and again, the vehicles that they took even would not have allowed them to arrest a lot of the folks that are in this place. Is the reason why I'm telling you that, based on the report of Nana Bottom, that by the time they went the next morning, people were attempting to build. So it is important to be very decisive about the way these things are going to be done. It is the reason why things like the state of emergency would have been important. So that in communities like this, what you want to do is after you separated the people who are not really the criminals who are involved in it, you are able to even, create a special court that gets in there. Like the UK did. Within 24 hours, you are arrested, you are arraigned before them, you are punished, and if it's a fine, if it's a jail sentence, or it's both of them, that is done. But I completely agree with you. The problem has not been, what we've been able to do is to begin. So what we need to do is how are we going to deal with those people who are feeding, who themselves might not be engaged in an illegal activity under the Minerals and Mining Act? How are we going to separate them for the people who are involved in crimes that you can, deal with under the Minerals and Mining Act? And then also those who are involved in, who are carrying weapons, who are part of the committee, and who are the ones hacking Forestry Commission staff and all of that. How do you deal with all of those things? So there has to be a comprehensive and a sustainable means of dealing with this particular challenge that confronts us. It's in no part been dealt with at all. It's definitely still a challenge that exists that we need to have a concrete effort to be able to do that. One of the things I am hoping is that definitely there were DCEs or MCEs in this place. There was the District Security Committee in this particular place who reneged on their duty or who were complicit in the past. Now that a DCE is in place, what we should be asking is what plans does he have with working together with the military, working together with the Forestry Commission, the District Mining Committee, the District Security Committee, to ensure that there's going to be a permanent solution to the particular problem that confronts us. So that is going to be important, and it's something that we should be asking for. It's something that, the authorities need, to put together to ensure that this particular community, the Jerusalem community, and other communities, that are close to this forest, other forest reserves that are also doing the damage, we have a sustainable means of dealing with the law enforcement issue. Then we'll be able to bring the other things that we need to do, to make sure that permanently these issues are resolved. We have now, our country, Ghana, has become we have a place in that community that's been a haven for child prostitution, that is a haven for human trafficking, and, the challenges with the drug abuse and all of those things that exist in those communities. We need to be asking questions of it.
All right, Erastus, give us a bit of an idea of what's happening on the ground after this raid. What's the state of the Subri and surrounding areas? How much damage has been left in the wake of these 10,000 people all surrounding this illegal mining community?
Kojo, 5 people with simple tools like pickaxe and others can degrade a forest, bring down trees, like 5 big trees in 5 days. So multiply 5 by what you're seeing now, 10,000. So you can imagine, picture it in your mind, the destruction they have done to the Subri Forest Reserve. So that's quite a huge land area degraded. And we kept drawing attention to this. You see, this is not the only area. Apamprama Forest Reserve started like that. And gradually, because nobody acted, more groups joined, and gradually now we have more than 4,000 hectares, half of that forest gone completely. Now they are looking for over $140 million to try to reclaim that land. Now, as we speak, are starting series of such settlements in many of the forest reserves. One of them is Anua Futu, Fin Shelter Belt. The same thing happened there. You have armed groups who have gone in there. There were hundreds of them. The forest went there to drive them. They came back. Now you go to Apinkru. They are armed themselves. They are there. Jimira Extension, Nkrumah Petit, close to be. And it starts gradually like one group. You don't stop them, another group joins. They realize that nobody is driving them away, another group will join. And then their compatriots with drugs and other things to give them, because the job is a very difficult job, very hard job. So they need some of these illicit drugs to drive them. Now they join. More people bring guns and ammunition to guard them, prevent people from coming in there. Now we have prostitutes and other people who use sex for trade. When they get to know that the place is thriving, they also move there. Gradually, you're building such a settlement, and it's happening in Boyne Tano, Boyne River, Tano Anya. Government has consistently sent people in there. The concessionaire, Clean Jobs, has also taken military people in there, but still, there are people in portions of it at Abrewa and its environs. If you don't crack the whip, and if you don't have a coordinated response, consistent on the ground, then you'll be breeding such settlements along the line. And it is something that we have to guard against. I am all for a proposition by some of the security heads that I've heard, that why don't we have permanent military posts in every region to handle this? So in Ashanti region, we'll have a permanent military team stationed here. In Western region, we'll have a permanent team stationed there. In Central region, in Eastern region, and constantly their duty will be to patrol and respond to some of these things. It's doable. The police, for example, under the previous regime, they turned a very blind eye to everything illegal mining, sometimes even close to barriers. People are mining in settlements that they are looking on. This settlement, for example, would have come to the notice of the police, but then they did not act. I am happy that under this IGP, they have taken some steps. I could see some rejuvenation of the forces at the district level. Some of them are arresting illegal miners. I want to see more. And so the police will get involved. The military, they have started very well. Let's have permanent posts. And then again, the Minerals Commission has set up an excavator tracking unit. Ultra-modern, fantastic department. But it is now becoming a white elephant. It has never been used. Why are we not using it? Can we get an announcement out that from today going, give a period, every excavator operating in this country should have a tracker from the Minerals Commission? If you don't find a tracker in your machine, we will seize it. If it needs legislation, let's pass it. Let's get along with it. And every importation of excavator should have a reason, and it should go through the same regime to be tracked.
Okay.
This unit allows you to see the excavators in real time wherever they are, and it will help you monitor and be able to control them if indeed we really want to control mining in this country. So we can mine responsibly and sustainably wherever we may be.
Kojo, but you see, let me burst the Erastus's bubble. There is actually an airline that we have passed. We have passed an airline that has to deal with this tracking. Not only have we passed the airline, we also have a fee fixing charge for how much it costs for these assets to be tracked. You did a pilot. The pilot was so successful. You could actually geofence, so your excavator is mapped up to a concession. And then if you go beyond this, your excavator is sent off. You have a possibility of integrating that with the DDLs so that all of these excavators are properly dealt with. You ask yourself, after this successful collaboration between academia, UMA, and then the Minerals Commission, why is it that the past government decided that they will not operationalize this particular thing? And already most of the large scale miners, they are able to track their equipment. anywhere they are. So the small scale miners that, are buying all of these excavators. And last year, the third highest item that we imported into Ghana were excavators. These excavators have become weapons of mass destruction. You have a lot to be able to track them and deal with them. Why do you think that the politicians, the leaders, did not do that? If it was not for their own parochial interest. So it is important that the minister, as quickly as possible, operationalize this and would not take anything at all to do it. This is and again, as Erastus has said, it's a state of the art, a system that has been developed in this country and so has taken into consideration all the nuances that are involved. I know the minister has gone to see it. We should be expecting that to be done. And as Erastus said, every tractor that is coming in, excavator and all those equipment should be tracked, should be monitored. And before you now bring any excavator, we should be deciding, why again are we even allowing more excavators to come when we have more than enough than we need in this country?
Okay. Now, talking about the minister, Erastus, I know that you were part of, you joined the committee that was set up by the minister to go around the country, find out areas that were engaged in illegal mining with a view of that committee.
Your guess is as good as mine. The committee has finished this work. They have submitted their report. In the report, we have catalogued a number of areas susceptible to illegal mining. In fact, my interest was even with the Abrewa River, which has now been banked. It has been banked completely at Awudia and Pristia Hemai, and they are mining in the basin of the river. All these were part of our report. And we have also indicated red zones to the minister, and even how to suggested ways of fighting it and possible ways. All these things we are talking about have been included in the report. I am yet to see what the minister is going to do with that report. And in fact, I have consistently told him that we are feet dragging. We are wasting time. If you want to act, you act now. You don't wait. Anybody who is interested in doing something, they do not wait. They go ahead, they do it. Now you have all the information. So I have to ask the minister, Mr. Minister, what are you waiting for? And I think that we should start implementing all the recommendations that we have put there in that report. Areas in settlements, for example, now illegal mining is gaining grounds in homes. Yes. Konongo Dumase is one of them. Wasa Japa, Wasa Chinchuna, Wasa Dadia. So we went there. The people told us boldly that what they are doing is illegal. On camera, that what they are doing is illegal, is Galamsey, but they will do it anyway. Why have we not stopped them? Why are we allowing them to dig in homes? Akrokere, close to Obuase, people are digging in homes. People are digging close to the main Kumasi Accra road at Osino. In a bizarre way that when you are traveling, you see them glaringly with excavators digging. And I think that we should not look on as we are looking on and feet drag. We must put all the plans in place, just like the Ghana Armed Forces have started. Let's put all the plans in place and start moving them forward.
Okay.
To run concurrently.
Now, Erastus, you say you keep telling the minister that we are wasting time. What does he tell you is the reason they are not implementing the report and its recommendations?
Well, he says that they have plans and he's going to roll them out. I don't know what the plans are. I don't know what the timelines are, what he is waiting for to do it. But I think we are wasting time. Every small time you waste, a hectare of forest is going down. That damage will cost thousands, if not millions of dollars to fix. So every little minute, every hour you waste, that is going on. And it will be difficult to bring back to their original state. Now, the rivers and other streams have been taken over. New areas are experiencing this. If I show you my WhatsApp page right now, the number of farmers who are sending pictures of their communities taken over by illegal miners, all because they feel that nothing is happening to other people who have taken a similar stand. And so many streams that are clean, even in Jema, where the people stood up and said, no, to mining in their area. Now, certain portions of Jema are being encroached. And so there should be a strong signal sent out there, just like we have done with Subri. Let's go ahead, let's map up, do a coordinated response that will send a strong signal out to anybody that we are in for business. And I'm yet to see that. I want to see that from the minister.
Okay, I'll bring Ken Ashigbe in shortly, because I know that in the build-up to the elections, the political parties, the presidential candidates signed this document. I would want Ken to refresh minds on the documents they signed and what they've done since. But with you, Erastus, since you know the report, what were the recommendations that were made? And were there timelines, to these recommendations?
In fact, I have not read everything, but I know that as part of the recommendations, we thought about a coordinated response, a military post set up in every locality, region. Every region should have a coordinated military post or security post, if I should put it that way, because it will involve all other stakeholders so that they will be able to coordinate the response at the local level. We also spoke about a number of things involving the water guards and other things to be embedded on a task force so that we will have people who are trained to swim or otherwise have the expertise in handling some of these things, going out with teams, whether the Navy or other institutions, to be able to control what is happening along our borders. I am hinted that something is in the offing concerning that. My problem is with how much time we have, what time it's going to take for those issues to be implemented.
Okay. Hold on for me, Erastus. Ken, let me just get your view on this before I get to the pact that was signed by a presidential candidate. So here we are. The minister sets up a team, and the team has done its work, and he says they have plans. But the illegal mining is still ongoing. What better plans would be, do we have that we just cannot start acting?
Well, again, so I guess that you would say that for us as the coalition, the Ghana coalition, we also believe that some agency is required.
Yeah.
But we would agree that the minister then will tell you that the actions of the military are beginning to see are all part of it. I know the issues around the water guards being embedded with the Navy and the issue about setting up this post. I know that is also in the offing. I know there's some concerted military effort that is being expected. So some of these things you're hearing that they are coming, and you're beginning to see a few of them, but it's not coordinated. What we need is to be able to act as a people at war, a people who are dying, who would have to act with extra, agility. And so you would not be expecting that people who are at war, you still would have the situation where a president who promised that he was going to repeal e-levy and has done it in 82 days. And that same president will promise that he's repealing an act, revoking it, and currently he's in the process of amending it. As we speak, over about 8,000 Ghanaians have signed the petition asking, and I'm asking anybody listening to the morning show right now who has also not signed to add their voice to it. Another thing you will struggle with is this issue of the state of emergency in these places where you have your policeman. A policeman died because he fell into some of these streams. You have this forestry guard who is also fighting for his life. And you have the situation that we have on our hands. What is preventing the president from declaring a state of emergency? In these ports of them, and fortunately, a lot of them have been flagged. So we know the areas that you need these limited, state of emergency within those places. What is preventing us? And so I believe that there is some agency that is required, and to be able to do some of these things. The other thing about it is the fact that it has to be multi-sectorial, multi-ministerial. So definitely you will need the president at the top making sure that he's coordinating, that the minister of land alone would not be able to do it. But completely we agree that there's some agency that should be attached to this. So as we see Supreme being dealt with, it would have been great to be able to see multiple places where we are hitting. And then once we hit that, we are sending the signal out, and if the people know that they cannot. Because you see, the things that these people also do, they are coordinated. So, when the thing is happening in a particular place, they are able to pull people from other places. But when you are hitting them multiple places at the same time, what would then happen is that their ability to be able to provide reinforcements to each other, all of those things, would be gone. And the need of the use of technology in a lot of this is also something that is lost. How are we using modern technology? And we are asking questions of where the drones are. These are drones that we spend money on. Those drones by now should be providing us footage for us to...
Ken, I should be talking about drones that we spent money on. You've heard the immediate past Lands and Natural Resources Minister say he didn't see any drones. So he did not even hand drones to the current Lands and Natural Resources Minister. I wonder what kind of drones you're talking about.
But you see, again, so, Winston, whether it was the previous Minister for Environment who had, the state has spent you and I our money in it. And you wonder why it is that when the former minister was at post, he did not raise the issue about the fact that he had not seen any drones. He did not raise it. So it is important. And whether they have it or they need it, I remember as far back as Operation Vanguard days, they were asking for the need for even night vision goggles and other accoutrements. So you need drones that are equipped with these capacities that would enable you to be able to act. Because one of the things that you need in this thing is the element of supply. So you want to be able to locate these people and know what exactly they are doing, so that when you are attacking, you are able to spring the attacks on them. But currently we will not. So by the time we would want to drive and trek into the forest, they get it, and then they get vanished. So we need to use technology. We need to be deploying the Air Force into some of these places. We need to deploy the Navy in. And I know for a fact that the military hierarchy are ready to be able to do some work. And I'm hearing also that something is going to be happening. But it has, as Erastus has said, it has to happen like yesterday. Because you see, we are dying every day that we live. People, it is not only just land that is being lost, it's also lives that are being lost. It is also currently, we are told that in this particular community, there were people who were arrested who on their WhatsApp were WhatsApp pages that were funding the conflict in Boku. So you see, these things that we do, when we do around natural resources and all of that, it then goes to fund some of these instabilities. Look at what the lives that we are losing in Boku and all of that. So it is important for the president, who is the commander-in-chief, to realize that this thing is going beyond the eco side. It's also basically sitting at our survival as a state. We have these actors who have come, who took 9 of our forest reserves before some of them are being taken back. And these people are still in our country. So we need to be dealing with them as a people who are at war. When you are at war, the way the generals that you need for war is not the generals that you need for peace. So we currently need the generals of war to get into these places and deal with them as war situations. When we do, then we can come back and do the other things that the board and all of them are doing.
So for purposes of emphasis, you're saying that the pact that the presidential candidates signed included a declaration of a state of emergency in mining areas, the repealing of the whole LI 2462, and not the amendment of certain parts, right?
So emphasis is the fact that the pact talked about dealing decisively with the issue. So His Excellency the President was the first president to have signed that particular pact. And the things that he was saying before he signed the pact are things that we're expecting that he was going to be able to do. And so we need to be able to start seeing that. How is it that the president was talking about revocation and now he becomes president, even he was even talking about revocation, then immediately we have this the amendment that really does not deal with the issues. How is it that the president, had ministers, MPs, who then were ready to take private members to revoke this, the ally that we're talking about? Even the president that we accused that did not do well with Galamsey, the former president, he even had an instrument, a revocation instrument in parliament to be able to do that. Go check back. The president, the NDC, they were also vociferous when we were screaming about the state of emergency. Some of their MPs were talking about the fact that It was the commander-in-chief then. The president had the power to be able to deal with this situation in 2 weeks. What has changed? The situation is still getting dire. That's why, for me, we need to find out from the IGP, what is he doing, about the directive given by the Minister of Interior, which is a great one. The issues of reshuffle. I'm hearing Erastus talk about something is happening on the ground, but definitely whoever is the police commander at Osino, we should be asking questions of him. How is it that around Osino we still have Galamsey happening close into those communities and all the communities that this thing is happening? So the agency should not be lost on all of us, and it is important that all the bodies that rose up last year, they need to realize that yes, we seem to have changed the way we are fighting it. We are seeing a minister who is acting positively, but we need to bring the support. The minister has asked all of us to support, and the support would be to all of us galvanize and put the pressure to ensure that the things are done in the right way. So that is really, really important, that all of us, we need to rise up and support the things that are being done, and also point out to the government the things that they ought to do that they are not doing. That is an important thing that has to happen.
Mr. Ken Ashigbe, I want to say thank you to you for your time this morning. Also, a big thank you to Erastus Asaridonko. Erastus, we appreciate you very much.
Yeah, I just...
do we have Erastus on the line still?
Yes, I think Erastus wants to make a point.
Yeah,
yes.
Let's hear you, Erastus. Yeah.
But we have not also spoken about the corruption bit, which to me is also serving as a challenge for the government in fighting this. Because I don't see any other reason why, when you notify an agency about something that is urgently happening in a forest reserve, and then there will be feet dragging. There are instances that soldiers have been sent to a particular area to flush out illegal miners, and they came back to say that they did not find them. We sent another team, and they are able to find them. And so the issue about...
Please hold on, Erastus. You're saying that they sent soldiers, and they didn't find illegal miners, and another group of soldiers were sent, and they found illegal miners at the same place where the previous group didn't find any?
That was in Tanzania recently.
How?
The soldiers that were sent from 2BN in Central to the forest, they came back to say that they could not find two other groups who had notoriously pitched camp within the forest reserve. And then the concessionaire brought soldiers from Accra, and there they were with 15 excavators. How can you miss 15 excavators in a forest?
Wow.
So seriously, there is a whole lot of corruption at the district level that has gone on for a very long time. It needs to be milked down completely. And I think that the reshuffling of security heads in Galamsey areas is very, very urgent and needed. And I think the IGP and the CDS will be able to handle that effectively.
Great.
All right. Well, Erastus, thank you so much for that. You also heard earlier the voice of Ken Ashigbe. Listen, let's hear some messages from our partners. There's